Hey everyone, I'm Caleb, a fitness influencer, mountain biker, gym rat, and business owner. Today we're covering a topic that is both crucial and all too familiar for many of us: recovering from injuries. As someone who's spent countless hours in the gym and on the trails, I've had to deal with my fair share of injuries. We're talking concussions, torn quads, crippling back injuries, and even tendinitis. But through all of these, I've learned how to bounce back stronger each time. In this video, we will cover 4 key points that have not only helped me, but also countless others to recover and get back to peak performance. We will cover nutrition and supplements, training, rest, and last but not least, understanding and preventing your injury. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's cover the boring one first: nutrition and supplements. No one really wants to track their calories. No one wants to pay attention to how much they're putting into their body. We'd all just rather eat whatever mom cooks. But nutrition is probably the most important part of this whole process. If you're going in to repair or build a new building, you need the right material for it. Say you're trying to build a house, but all you have is sticks. You're not going to be able to build a very nice house. You're going to end up building something that breaks down and is injured again and is broken and just doesn't work, is not as strong. Nutrition is kind of like your building block. Nutrition is kind of like the lumber, the bricks, everything that goes into building a building. And your muscles and your body is the building. So in order to rebuild yourself, you need to have the right things coming in. Now that leads us to ask, okay, we need the right things coming in. What exactly is the right thing? There are 3 types of macros. There's protein, carbs, and fats. Let's talk about protein real quick, because protein is the one that is probably the most important in the rebuilding. So for protein, you are going to want 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. Say you weighed 170 pounds. You are going to then want between 119 grams of protein a day to 170 grams of protein a day. As far as fats and carbs, I personally like to shoot for about 40-50 grams of fat at least a day. And then the rest of it, I don't care where it goes. As long as I get my protein in and about 40-50 grams of fat, I don't care if the rest comes with carbs or with fat. It kind of just lets me stay more consistent with my diet, because then I'm not as restricted and it's easier to eat whatever I want. There is some science and some good evidence behind carb cycling, or cutting out carbs or fats for a certain amount of time. Cutting out fats and carbs for a long amount of time is not good and is not beneficial. So now, okay, that's the macronutrients. Let's talk about micronutrients for a second. Micronutrients are the vitamins and minerals that you take in. You can be taking some multivitamin pill, which is just loaded with a bunch, and that is better than nothing. But if you have the time and have the money and are able to afford it, it's best for you to get a blood test that gives you the whole panel of what you have in your system, what you're deficient in, what you need more of, and then go off of that. Because some people need 1 pill of vitamin D, some people need 3 pills of vitamin D a day, and you really can't tell without the blood test. But I do realize that is more expensive and takes up more time than most people are able to give. Daily multivitamin is a good idea. Another really good idea is magnesium. Magnesium, most people are deficient in, so it's a safe bet that you are as well. You'll also feel the effects in things like sleep and things like brain fog if you are in fact deficient in magnesium. As far as other supplements, I would recommend that you take a protein powder. Protein powders, they're an easy way to get your daily protein intake in. There's nothing really special about them except for the fact that it's a lot of protein and few calories. Now let's talk about how much you want to actually eat. When you are recovering from injury, you want to have more calories coming in than you are burning a day. So be in a calorie surplus. So say you burn 2,700 calories a day, you're going to want 300 to 500 more than whatever you're burning. So if you're burning 2,700 calories a day, you're going to want 3,000 to 33,000. That will allow you to have all the extra nutrients and all the extra building blocks for your body to repair itself and recover the fastest possible. Okay, so now that nutrition and supplements are out of the way, let's talk about training for a second. Most doctors and people will tell you not to train when you're dealing with an injury, and they're kind of right. You see, it really depends upon the injury that you have. If you have a concussion, it is best to not train for a couple of days while you recover. You don't want to be putting extra stress on your head and pushing extra blood flow and increasing your blood pressure. You want to really just take it a little easy with the concussion. But say you injured your arm, say you have tendonitis in your arm. There is no reason why you still cannot train your abs or train your legs. There's no reason why you can't train the other arm and shoulder. In fact, there is some scientific studies that do show that training your one arm will have effects on your other arm as well. They're not as prevalent as if you train them both, but there are some studies that show. When you're dealing with an injury, it's best to, as is said, train around the injury. If you find a movement that hurts that muscle, that hurts whatever you have going on, then don't do it. And find a different movement that works the same way, that works some of the same muscles in the same way. Of course, if you have a torn bicep or something like that, you don't want to go try and training your biceps. That's kind of common sense. But you can work your shoulders and your chest and everything around it in different ways. You may find the pec deck and chest flies may hurt your bicep more, but bench press does not. So then instead of doing pec deck and flies, you do your bench press. Also, another reason to not fully knock off all training is because your training gets your blood flowing quite a bit more. Doing training and doing light cardio gets your blood flowing, which allows the blood to transport the nutrients, which are the building blocks, around your body into the necessary spots better and faster, which is why massages and things like ice actually help with recovery, because they make your body transport more blood to that area, which reduces inflammation and promotes faster recovery time. So doing some light cardio in the gym is a good idea. You can also add in things like stretching and foam rolling, because both of those will increase your blood flow and allow yourself to get over this injury faster. Moving on now to rest. So when I say rest, what most people think of is sleep and just chilling on the couch, binge watching a movie or something like that, which that is part of it, but it's not all of it. As far as sleep, it is best to aim for about 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night. I know it's easier said than done, but this will have more dramatic effects than almost anything else and on your recovery process and on your life as a whole. You'll be able to think better, move faster, recover faster, and just feel better all around. So more than just sleep, there's active rest that we can also work on. There are things like ice, which reduces the inflammation and reduces recovery time. There are things like stretching and foam rolling, and light cardio also counts as active rest. Aim for about 20 to 30 minutes of cardio 2-3 times a week when you're recovering. It will have dramatic effects on not only your recovery process, but your life as a whole. Before going to bed, it's best to cut out all blue lights about an hour before your bedtime. Blue lights mess with your melatonin production, which in turn will inhibit your sleep and make your sleep of less quality. So understanding your injury and prevention can be some of the most important things in the after effect after you're recovered, and help you recover faster as well. Understanding and knowing what muscle or what tendon is injured and in what ways it stretches, in what ways it contracts, those are all key, as well as understanding how and why this injury happened. Now, say you fell off your bike and crashed like I did like a year ago, and you end up with a bad concussion and possibly black out or something like that. In that case scenario, why you got the injury, why you got the concussion is pretty simple. You fell off your bike. There's nothing you can do really to prevent it except maybe get a better helmet. But another scenario, say you were in the gym and you were doing some sort of squats and all of a sudden your quad tore. You want to know why your quad tore, what movement you were doing, what led up to it. Because most likely it wasn't just that movement that you were doing. Most likely it had to do with something else, like not warming up or working your quad the couple days prior and overworking that certain muscle in certain ways. Or it could even add up to something like your abs or your stabilizing muscles were too weak for the weight that you were pushing, which led to your quad having to take over more. So understanding why your injury happened, what your injury is, those play key roles in preventing your injury. So my latest back injury is a muscle that pulls my shoulder blades back and tightens everything. That muscle I tore because the 3 days prior to that, I did very strenuous movements that all involved that specific muscle, and all worked it very hard. More than just that, when I'm looking at that specific back injury, I know that the muscle that I injured has a lot to do with stability and holding everything in place. So then you have to think, okay, what else has to do with stability and holding everything in place? Your abs or your core. So another thing I could do to take the load off of that muscle is strengthen my abs and strengthen my core. That way that muscle doesn't have to be as strong to do the same things. Therefore, for prevention for my last back injury, it is a good idea for me to train my abs and strengthen my core more, as well as not overdo that muscle again like I did. Alright folks, that wraps up the key points in how to recover from your injury faster. Remember the 4 things. Remember to be putting in the right nutrition and supplements into your body, to train smart and not just hard, to rest like it's your job, and to understand and prevent your injury from reoccurring in the future. Now, if you enjoyed this video or found it helpful at all, go ahead and do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.